We start with breaking news right now. The State Department of Health just announced 2 people have tested positive for coronavirus here in Western Washington. Good evening. I'm Mark Wright.
And I'm Jessica Janner Castro. Those results came in from the state lab, which just opened today. State officials are waiting to confirm that with the CDC. King 5's Britt Moore was at the news conference today. She is joining us live from Shoreline. Britt.
Yeah, Jessica, health officials are urging people not to panic, but they do say the risk is increasing here in Washington. Definitely a big deal as there are 2 new presumed cases of coronavirus here in the state. Both cases are very different. In King County, a woman in her 50s who recently traveled to South Korea tested positive for coronavirus. She did not need any medical attention. She's recovering at home. Her husband is doing well and has no symptoms. Meanwhile, in Snohomish County, that case there involves an Everett teen who had not recently traveled to a high-risk area. That teen attends Jackson High School. Officials don't know how that student contracted the virus. The school will be sanitized over the weekend. The Everett Public School System says a small number of students who came in contact with that teen, along with family, are being tested tomorrow. Health officials say this is just the beginning now that testing is available at the Public Health Lab here in Shoreline.
We expect more cases, that there are things that people can do to protect themselves, that most of the infections are mild, 80%, but we don't want to have any more severe cases than necessary.
Jackson High School will be closed come Monday. Meanwhile, health officials are urging everyone to come up with a plan at work, a plan at home, and minimize any interaction with people if you can. For now, we are live in Shoreline. Britt Moore, King 5 News.